Yeah, there's nothing worse when the plane's nearly boarded and there's an empty seat next to you and you see someone who can't even walk down the aisles without going sideways and bumping everyone. You think, please, not next to me. Not for the 5 hours, no. Hi, it's me again, and I want to talk about a couple of stories about larger people flying. Because you don't get a lot of space on a plane, do you? And if you're like this poor woman here, look at this poor woman. Oh, you had to feel for her. Woman who was sandwiched between two obese people on a flight gets compensation. So you've got to feel sorry for this girl. I'll put a link in the description below. Go and have a look at this article if you want. It's on the Mirror. And she was on one of the cheap flights and she had the middle seat. And then she had a larger person either side of her. And she spent the entire flight like that. Because they spill over, don't they? Especially American larger people, they spill over. It would have been an awful flight. I mean, look at some of the things she put out. I am currently literally wedged between two obese people on a flight. This is absolutely not acceptable or okay. If fat people want to be fat, fine. But it is something else entirely when I'm stuck between you with your arm rolls on my body for 3 hours. I could not agree more. I could not agree more. If you're too large to fit in one of the seats, then you should have to buy an extra seat. I don't see what's wrong with that. You know, if I fly Ryanair or something and I'm popping down to Spain for the weekend and I've got my bag and it weighs over 10 kilos, I have to pay more. If I have an 11 kilo bag, I still have to pay more. It's ridiculous. But I can weigh anything I want. There's no excess fee on that. How come my bag being overweight by a kilo charges an excess fee because it's so heavy and it'll use more fuel, when some geezer over there can weigh 3 times what I weigh but still pay the same price for a ticket and disrupt other passengers at the same time, and probably would be somewhat of a safety issue if you can't move fast enough in the event of an emergency and you're blocking me in because you've got the aisle or something. You can get me killed. It's wrong. You should have to buy 2 seats. If you can't fit in one seat, you should have to buy 2 seats. And I used to be fat. I did used to be fat. I dealt with that. Although American Airlines initially hit back at her cruel comments by insisting their passengers come in all shapes and sizes, Watson has now revealed she has been offered $150 in trip credits by the airline, which can be used on any flight in the next 12 months. And there's no way on earth she would have got that offer. No way on earth unless this made the papers. You know, papers will print any old tweets now. That's all newspaper article is tweets now. Isn't it? But how I find the best way to avoid this, because you know me, I'm a regular flyer, backwards and forwards to Spain all the time, and I have to travel for work in Europe and stuff like that. How I avoid this is I tend to pay a little bit extra if I have to book an emergency exit seat or the front row of, if you're on a Ryanair, front row that side, the left side is probably the right side on the camera there, by the door. Costs a little bit more, but you're guaranteed to not have somebody that big sitting next to you because they're not allowed to sit in emergency exit seats. That's how I do it. But then I do feel bad for them in a way because everyone's entitled to travel. Everyone should be allowed to travel. Everyone should be allowed to enjoy the world, right? Not that, you know, we're going to be able to soon because we won't be allowed to travel anywhere anymore. But we'll talk about that when that happens. But some people are worried about it. I mean, this woman here, look. Plus-size woman in tears over plane seatbelt and cabin crew warn her to speak up. Today I had to fly and I got so much anxiety because the lap belt goes right across the largest part of my body. I have a fit husband and had to look at him in the face on the plane while panicking when the lap belt was at least ½ an inch too small. He looked at me and I had to say I'm too big to fit. I wanted to cry. I never wanted to tell anyone, especially him, that my size is causing the belt not to fit. I seriously almost flew pretending to wear the belt and just cover it on my lap with my sweater because I was so upset with myself. Well, that won't work. That won't work. Those cabin crew love staring at crotches. It's their favourite thing to do. And if you've even got it done up slightly loose, they notice. I'm always getting told off for it. They love looking at my crotch on a Ryanair flight or a Jet2 flight. And it's a liability issue for the airline. If the seatbelt sign's on, you have to be strapped in. Now, they have seatbelt extenders, but I don't think they should. I don't think they should. Make the seatbelt slightly bigger. Okay, because they don't go out that far, do they? Make the seatbelt slightly bigger, just for the size of somebody who would just about fit in that seat. And that's it. If you can't do your belt up, you can't fly, I'm afraid. What's wrong with that? Unless you get 2 seats or book yourself a whole aisle and then we'll strap you in good and proper or something. But it just comes down to the weight issue thing again, isn't it? These people are so big, they need belt extensions to fly, but I have to pay extra if I want a couple of kilos more luggage. How's that work? How's that work? Yeah, and this comes from me. I was fat. I promise you, I'm not going to show you any pictures, but I was fat. And my father was a publican for 30 odd years, and he was quite a big chap by the end of that. And he had to use a seatbelt extender by the end of it. So do you know what he did from the embarrassment of going to the Costa Brava on the family holiday that year? He burnt some of the weight off so that he fit in the chair and he was happier and healthier for it and didn't disrupt anybody else. Wonder if these people have ever thought about that. It's quite a selfish disability to give yourself, isn't it? Super morbid obesity. Unless there is a medical reason for it. But, you know, you can have all the medical reasons you want, but if the calories aren't going in, they can't stick to you. Can I say that? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts about it down in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because that way, hopefully, I'll see you in another video again soon. Obviously, I'm demonetized now, so it doesn't matter. But if you could hit the subscribe button, that would still be helpful. Thanks.